head start though. You headed down in the thing before you go.
It's about 30 seconds ignition. Obviously the smoke alarms have gone off by now. And so we're burning into the couch. And the Walmart curtains haven't quite caught on fire yet. They must be flame retardant.
So now you can see the smoke on that side.
Or they're just melting from the cheap plastic. So couches burn well. That Christmas tree that we showed you isn't all that far off of a real fire scenario.
There it goes.
There goes the sprinkler head at just about a minute. See the flame starting to get knocked down. It's seated inside of that couch, so it'll take a little bit. But now we've converted toxic gases to steam. Now we're trying to figure out in the middle of the night what's going on. We're calling the fire department. National standards would say that we need to dispatch the firefighters within 60 seconds, 95% of the time, so there's a whole other minute that's going to go by before we even know that you have a fire.
Red hot down at the bottom.
So the sprinklered room on the right has controlled that fire. It will not spread to anywhere else in your house. Might be a little bit messy right now in that room of origin. But that's as far as it's going to go. Eventually it might go out, or when we show up we'll kind of mess up the couch a little bit and get the rest of the fire out with a fire extinguisher instead of a 1 3/4 line. Let's look on the left here. Now we're really... The hot gases on top have actually caught fire now because of all the oxygen being pumped into the room. Now we've got downward heating like we talked about earlier, and so the rest of the couch on top has ignited at this point. So we've basically reached flashover. The front there is going to be a little bit more delayed because of the wind and stuff.
You want them up?
Everything in this room is on fire.
You want them up?
Completely untenable conditions. We as firefighters with our fancy gear would not survive this room. So now imagine this blowing out that door down the hallway and wreaking havoc on the rest of your house, as well as starting to burn through the drywall up into the attic, between floors, etc. Now you're lucky enough that we have a fire station right around the corner. But does living next to a fire station necessarily help your situation? No, the damage is done. We're going to mitigate that damage, but we certainly did not prevent the potential fatality or extensive damage from occurring. When we show up, we're going to go into typically what's called a fast attack mode. We're going to pull off a more small diameter line that can quickly be advanced through the house. The officer of this engine is going to be walking around the outside of the house, figuring out what's going on, where's the fire, and how should we attack it. He's going to be telling the next engines when to get a fire hydrant, which side of the house we're attacking on, and what we're doing. We need more firefighters to come in and be backup. So if one of our firefighters gets lost or injured, we have a team that's ready to go and rescue them. discharge line. They need to get a water supply to make sure we don't run out of water 2 minutes into fighting the fire, which puts us in danger and certainly doesn't help you out at all. So we have to take some time to make sure that we're actually ready to fight the fire. Right now, about 150 gallons per minute are coming out of that hose. So in this short time, we've put out more water than that sprinkler head has the entire time. As well as that flow is going right through your walls. And when we get in there, we're going to take our poles and actually pull down all your drywall and really mess up the place. We could potentially be breaking out your windows right now, cutting holes in your roof to get the hot gases out, putting up fans to try to blow the smoke out, to try to salvage your property, try to cover up your property. But at this point, most of your house has been charged with smoke. So everything smells bad at the very least and is potentially ruined without necessarily even the fire coming anywhere near it. Notice the drywall is on the ground right now because of the pressure that they use to put out that fire. Once it gets down to here, we would consider the fire under control or knocked down, and we get in, and now we start pulling things apart because the fire could still be creeping around inside the couch, things of that nature. For the Sprinklered one, we got a little bit of fire left under the couch. Again, that was shielded from the sprinkler head. Typically, we would go in there a little bit closer, just kind of pull up the couch, put the rest of the fire out. Also, at this point, on the fire on the right, we can pretty much figure out that this fire is almost out. The first in engine can handle the emergency and tell everybody else to go back to their stations and respond to other calls. The fire on the left, we've got 3, 4 engines and a ladder truck and medic units there. Depending on the extent of the fire, we may call for a second alarm and get a few more engines there to help provide extra resources, manpower, all that, equipment. So this is a much longer operation at that point, depending on how far this fire has spread. Also keep in mind that right now the firefighters have